This is a True Crime in Real Time update from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.
It wasn't the sound of a gunshot that first drew the nation's attention to the courthouse in Whitesburg, Kentucky. It was what came after. According to reporting by NewsNation, audio recordings surfaced that allegedly tie the late District Judge Kevin Mullins to a sextortion scandal involving coercive sexual exchanges in his chambers. Judge Mullins, who served as a respected judicial figure for 15 years, was shot and killed in his office on September 19th, allegedly by Letcher County Sheriff Shawn Stines. But the crime has uncovered more than a murder. It has reportedly unearthed systemic abuses of power within the justice system. The recordings, obtained by NewsNation, reportedly include evidence that women were coerced into sexual acts in exchange for leniency in court proceedings, bail, or other judicial favors. Sabrina Adkins, a former inmate who has spoken publicly, provided detailed claims about the alleged activities. According to Adkins, who is also one of the plaintiffs in a civil rights lawsuit filed in 2022, she saw explicit video footage of Mullins engaging in sexual acts in his chambers. She alleges that these acts were part of a broader pattern involving other officials, including former Deputy Sheriff Ben Fields. Adkins' testimony is disturbing. "I've seen Judge Mullins having sex with a girl," she told investigators, according to NewsNation's report. The alleged acts reportedly took place in the judge's chambers, a location Adkins says she recognized because she had been there herself during her interactions with the judicial system. Her claims suggest a pervasive misuse of power that went unchecked for years. Ben Fields, the former deputy sheriff named in Adkins' lawsuit, is already serving time for rape and sodomy of another female inmate in 2022. According to reporting by NewsNation, Fields allegedly coerced women into sexual acts by offering judicial leniency or other benefits, a claim central to the lawsuit filed by Adkins and another woman. The lawsuit also names Sheriff Stines for allegedly failing to properly train or supervise Fields, though Stines denies knowledge of the misconduct. Stines' alleged involvement in Mullins' murder has raised serious questions about his potential motives. The sheriff had been deposed just days before Mullins was killed, according to court records cited by NewsNation. His defense team insists that the shooting was not connected to the allegations, maintaining his innocence in the ongoing murder trial. Stines has pleaded not guilty to charges of first-degree murder. According to NewsNation, Adkins' attorney Ned Pillersdorf described the courthouse atmosphere as disturbingly corrupt. "It's like they were running a brothel out of that courtroom," Pillersdorf remarked, summarizing the gravity of the allegations. This description highlights the stark contrast between the courthouse's intended purpose as a center for justice and the alleged activities that occurred within its walls. For the citizens of Letcher County, these allegations represent a betrayal of trust on multiple levels. Mullins, once a symbol of authority and fairness, is now at the center of a scandal that tarnishes not only his reputation, but the integrity of the entire judicial system. Sheriff Stines, the county's top law enforcement officer, faces charges that further erode public confidence in local governance. As the investigation continues, the recordings remain a critical piece of evidence. According to NewsNation, they reportedly show explicit acts involving Mullins and other officials, raising the possibility of additional charges or lawsuits. These recordings may hold the key to unraveling what investigators are describing as a web of corruption, coercion, and abuse of power. While the murder trial against Sheriff Stines proceeds, the broader implications of the case are just beginning to unfold. The tapes, the testimonies, and the lawsuits paint a grim picture of a justice system that allegedly preyed on the vulnerable instead of protecting them. How deep does the corruption go? And how many lives were affected before the system began to crumble under the weight of its own misconduct? It's one thing to hear allegations of misconduct. It's another to see them unfold on tape. According to reporting by NewsNation, the recordings obtained as part of a criminal investigation into former Deputy Sheriff Ben Fields allegedly provide explicit evidence of sexual acts taking place in District Judge Kevin Mullins' chambers. These tapes, now central to the investigation, reportedly reveal a pattern of coercion, where women were manipulated into trading their dignity for their freedom. The The recordings, described in detail by whistleblower Sabrina Adkins, allegedly exposed Mullins' participation in these acts. Adkins claims she saw the footage firsthand and identified Mullins in the video. "I've seen Judge Mullins having sex with a girl," she reportedly told investigators, according to NewsNation. These encounters, Adkins alleges, were orchestrated under the pretense of providing legal or judicial assistance, reduced bail, favorable rulings, or leniency for violations. The tapes reportedly go beyond Mullins. According to Adkins' lawsuit and NewsNation's reporting, other officials may also be implicated, including Deputy Sheriff Fields, who was convicted and sentenced for rape and sodomy in a separate case. The recordings allegedly depict a coordinated effort to exploit women who were already in vulnerable positions, incarcerated, financially unstable, or under the weight of legal penalties. For these women, the price of survival was submission, and the system that should have protected them was instead their oppressor. The existence of such recordings raises urgent legal and ethical questions. How could this have gone undetected for so long? Who else might have been involved or complicit in allowing this to happen? Investigators are reportedly analyzing the footage forensically, searching for corroborating evidence to determine the scope of the alleged network. It is this painstaking review that could ultimately decide how far-reaching the consequences will be. For Mullins, who cannot defend himself, the tapes cast a shadow over his legacy. NewsNation reports that some officials and legal experts have called for a thorough review of cases he presided over to determine if judicial decisions were influenced by any alleged misconduct. Such a review could uncover injustices far beyond those already revealed, shaking the foundations of Letcher County's legal system. What these tapes reveal is more than just the alleged actions of a single judge. They expose a breach of trust in the very institution meant to safeguard justice. As investigators piece together the evidence, the tapes have become a symbol of accountability, holding a mirror to the abuses of power that festered behind closed doors. The implications of these recordings are vast. If they confirm the allegations, they may serve as a turning point in how judicial misconduct is addressed, not just in Letcher County, but across the nation. The tapes stand as a stark reminder of the power imbalance that exists within the justice system and the devastating consequences when that power is abused.
In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
Where hidden killers roam, unnoticed, in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Brueski as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski.